Craig Rollins, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
Now you live just down the hall from me at school, and I remember seeing you at school. Although you're a busy guy, so we have the benefit of at least having known each other at school a little bit,
Absolutely.
right down there in the Gopher Land. But
That-
right now you're in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
That's correct.
Talk about that. What's going on there?
My wife, when we first got here, she called it Rock Thrill. Actually, I think she actually called it Rock Hell, but then it became Rock Thrill. But it's just a small community, really a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah,
So
yeah. My a family member of mine lives there, so I know it well. I know it well. I know the area. Charlotte's becoming quite a hub for classmates, so people are moving there. You've probably got now 5 or 6 folks converging on you there, so you're well positioned to at least have a class of '86 drinks night at some point.
yeah, so we can have those drinks like you guys did up in Washington just recently. Exactly.
You know, as the retirements keep going, who knows? Rock Hill and the Charlotte area might be the next hot spot. So,
That'd be awesome.
what brought you there originally?
This was the business that I ran. This was the headquarters for the business.
Okay.
And so they stipulated that I actually live in Rock Hill. So
Okay. And you stayed there on retirement.
I did. I mean, we've been here for 25, 26 years. So this is kind of home now.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for you. And then what do you do? So you retired at age 60, you said in your profile. So what keeps you busy?
Right now,
Yeah.
well, I play golf twice a week. That's
Well.
why I appreciate you doing this on a Wednesday, so it's not a golf day. So thank you for that. I mean, I've got 2 children. I've got 1 granddaughter that's pretty new that lives up in Raleigh. So,
Yeah.
I mean, my wife, if she wants to go to Raleigh about every day. So, you know how it is. So I think.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our classmates has a grandchild that's drawing them down to the Charlotte area. So we now have the great movement toward grandchildren, I think is what's going on at this point. So that's great.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah.
So talk about, so a little bit of golfing, a little bit, do you keep in touch with anybody there in Charlotte yet, or we still got to get that knit together?
As far as,
Yeah, classmates.
I haven't done a really good job on that.
Yeah.
I played football at West Point. Well,
You did.
let me clarify that. I was on the team at West Point, but so I keep in touch with a lot of those guys. But still, it's infrequent. Every Army Navy game,
Yeah.
just not what it probably should be. But
Yeah. Well, the football journey was very different. For all but Dave Urban, who played one play and still to this day is identified as a football player, but that's a whole different podcast, and he's not we'll leave him out of this one. But so you're from Cincinnati, Ohio. You're the first person from Cincinnati that I've been able to talk to in this series, so I'm excited about that. Talk about growing up in Cincinnati.
it was a great place to grow up.
Yeah.
We were just north of the city, right in between Cincinnati and Dayton. But I mean, it was a good little football area.
Yeah.
That was one of my sports that I tried to play.
Yeah.
So it was good high school football. Good place to raise a family, and it's where my family was from. Unfortunately, you talk about first person from Cincinnati. Ever since I graduated from West Point, I haven't been back, other than
Is that right?
to drop in on the parents every now and then. But and that was short lived. So
Yeah. And now, just football in high school, or were you kind of a 3-sport?
I wasn't a 3-sport. I actually got cut from the basketball team, which has scarred
Really?
me, physically all my life. But no, I played baseball and football.
Baseball and football. Okay. Two sport. That was our era, right? We were all kind of members of all the teams was more the thing, where the kids specialize these days more. It seems.
Agreed.
And so with football, what position did you play in high school?
I went both ways until my senior year, and then
Okay.
I think my coach looked at me and said, "If you want any chance to play the next level, you're just going to have to pick one side or the other." So I ended up going on the defense.
Okay.
Same position that I played in at West Point. It was like an outside linebacker, almost
Okay.
like a monster back.
Yeah.
But And so did well at that, and got a little bit of attention. Got recruited,
Okay.
but I think once when you get recruited and they send you those letters,
Right.
they ask how tall you are and how much you weigh.
Right.
And I think I kind of embellished that a little bit,
Right.
probably more than I should have. So you get that attention, but unfortunately, when I got to West Point and they took one look at me and they're like, I don't think you're going to be on the football team. So I
Yeah.
ended up got recruited, but then when I got there, I actually got cut from the team.
Is that right? Is
So
that
I went
right?
back out as a walk on.
You did.
I
Well,
did.
that took some gumption to do
It was
that.
good. It was rewarding. Unfortunately, I had to do beats barracks and everything like a normal plebe instead of being part of that course squad football.
Yeah.
But in the first maybe couple, maybe not couple months, but maybe 30 more days, just as regular cadet life. But and then they had a walk on tryout,
Right.
and I want to say there was a couple of us that they picked up. I want to say might have been Mark Aubrey that got picked up, and then I think I did too, as far as becoming part of the team.
Fascinating. And
Yeah,
then, so when what was it about? Why West Point? So you got recruited by a couple schools, I imagine, being a good
I
player
got
there.
recruited by a bunch, but again, I think after they saw my size, I did a
Yeah.
couple visits, and it really wasn't an option after that.
Okay.
But my father had an aneurysm when I was a junior in high school,
Uh huh.
and he really never recovered. He passed away my junior year at West Point, but
Yeah.
I guess I tell you that story because it was going to be tough for me to kind of pay for school. So I needed to look at something where there was going to be a scholarship.
Right.
My mother really couldn't afford it. My father did work for General Motors, had decent pension and everything, but it was just kind of tough. So I think West Point was a great opportunity to get a good education and not have to pay for it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So
I
my
think
mom was all in on that.
yeah, for sure. It's a common theme for folks from our era. So you're not the first. You're looking at a guy who was in a similar position. What? So once you got there, you were on the football program. Then you had to go back to the radio. What was it? Where was your head? Like you think about 18 years old. Where was your head being put back into like you're just a regular cadet with the rest of us? At the military? I mean, were you prepared mentally for that at all, or how did that hit you?
As far as going to West Point,
Well, no, yeah, you were now just you had to go through Beast Barracks, and you might be able to walk back on the team. That's a very big change from being recruited. Where was your head, and how did you get through that?
well, let me give you just one quick story, and
Sure.
it'll kind of show where my head was. Do you remember sitting in our day when we were sitting up in the stadium? I want to say it was our day,
Yeah.
and I remember them. This was when they started yelling at us, and I remember them saying, "If you're here for anyone else but yourself, you need to get up and go." And
Yeah.
Paul, I remember sitting there going like, "Holy crap! I'm here for my mom. I need to get up and go." And so that was my mindset when I got to West Point.
All right.
I don't think I wasn't as plugged in as I should have been as far as what I was really getting into. But my mother pushed it so hard and it was a free ride, and so I was like, "Let's go." And I mean, physically, I was very fit, and so
Yeah.
I loved that part of it. It's just that the academics. I mean, it was just difficult for me. All four
Yeah. Yeah.
years it seemed like academically and just balancing everything.
So you could have just stayed as a cadet, obviously, because we all were there on scholarship essentially. But you decided to walk back on. And that's a heck of a thing. What talk about where
Well,
your head was
I
at? What were
love
you
the sport. I mean, I
Yeah.
loved it, and I'd been playing, for so many years. I didn't
Yeah.
want to quit. I mean, probably I would have probably had a better chance, probably playing baseball than I would have playing football, because I was just so small. I was maybe 185 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, I told everyone I was 6'1", 200, and in reality, I was barely 6 foot at about 180, 185.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I did the love of the sport and, you know, the fact that, plebe year was going to be difficult, I thought that was maybe a good escape as well,
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So you walk back on. You basically they gave you a spot on the team, and what's that like now?
Well,
You're not having that double duty there. Yeah.
I was mainly scout team,
Yep.
Um, you got to remember that I was in the same position as Kurt Gutierrez, and anyone that, I think we used to
The
call
only
him
man who truly frightens me in the class, Kirk Gutierrez.
he had a couple nicknames, but I think one of them was like lunatic fringe or something
Yeah,
like
right.
that.
I see
When
him
you're
coming. I
playing
run
behind
still. I'm
when
62
you're
years
playing
old. I
behind
run the
someone
other
like,
way.
I'm sorry, I talked over you, but when you're playing behind someone like that, it's
Yeah.
difficult. But I mean, it was still the camaraderie, the guys, Daryl Londo,
Yep.
Doug Pavick, JT, John Thompson, Terry Finley. Those guys were all defensive backs. I went into like a monster back position.
Yeah.
It's called an A position, along with Kirk Gutierrez. I mean, those are just good guys. And so once you meet them, even though I'm not playing a lot, still with the same group of good men.
Yeah. And you stuck with it. Your first company was D2, which you.
D2 was my first company.
Yeah.
I remember I had a couple. I was going back through the yearbook just to make sure I had the names correct.
Right.
I remember Jeff Baum being one of my roommates in D2. He was a gymnast. Werner Kiernan. I had Greg Enochs and Tom O'Brien. I think were also my roommates, but they all made it, which was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never really kept in touch. Werner Kiernan, I saw him over in Germany when I was stationed there, so I kind of caught up with him later in life. Greg Enochs, I think he may have played football for a year or two or something like that, but just good guys. Good way to start off plebe year.
And how'd the company treat you? Were they pretty straightforward over there? Or were they
They were jerks like anywhere else, what I mean? But
the standard level jerks?
I just remember one guy that gave me, particularly this one guy gave me a lot of grief.
Yeah.
And didn't like him at all, obviously. And then I remember fast forward to when I'm a captain in Germany.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see him at like an O club or something like that. And he was the captain as well. And I was like, you asshole, it's like, it was finally time to just say, why did you do all that?
Right.
And he was super nice and he was a real guy, and he was
Yeah.
like, hey, that was just my role. And I'm like, yeah, well, I didn't enjoy it at all, buddy. So thanks for being on my bottom.
One of the things they could have told us when we were upperclassmen is you are going to run into these people out of the Army and you're going to be relative peers. So just bear that in mind.
Exactly.
So the amount of heat you apply today is going to come back at you eventually. That's funny.
Exactly.
So, how was the schedule relative to football? And I mean, that's you guys had an amazing drain of energy as you were watching film,
would
getting
agree.
lunch, and all kinds of crazy stuff, right?
Absolutely. I've met with a lot of the Gophers, after we've been out of West Point.
Yeah.
When we get together, it's a common theme that it's like, hey, Craig, you remember when this happened at West Point? I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because for me, West Point was kind of a blur. I was not the best academically, and so I had to put the effort in. People like you are probably naturally talented, naturally intelligent. I'm the one that had to really work at it. And so I would stay up late and do a lot of studying.
But you also had a massive drain of your energy. I mean, regardless of the rest of it, you came back
Absolutely.
exhausted. The rest of us might have marched around the plane once or twice, and we had a little bit of energy in the evening. So you guys came
And
in
then
exhausted.
we'd get back in the mess hall at about 7, get you your room at 7:30 when it's time to be in your room anyway. So it seemed like I missed out on a lot of cadet life. But,
Sure.
and so
You guys
all
were on the
West-
road a lot too. You traveled a lot.
Well, I was only on the travel team my I may have gone to a couple games my junior year and then my senior year. But
Okay. Got it.
But
Yeah, first 2 years didn't.
it was all good, just kind of a blur, and when these guys tell me stories, it's always kind of fun because now I'm learning more about what happened at West Point while I was there.
Right. Right.
But now they're filling in all the missing blanks.
But you mentioned the Gophers. You ended up going to the mighty G3. They became a Gopher,
Hey, what a good group of people
a
that
legendary crew. Yeah.
good group of people there. Still keep in touch with a lot of those today, and you know that's been a true blessing out of West Point. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dan Sauter was also on the team.
Dan Sauter and Jay Bridge and myself, I
Yeah.
think, were the three football players. Jay was
That's
my
unusual to
roommate.
have three in one company.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah. In the same class. So it's,
and,
yeah.
and Bridge was my roommate for at least 2 years.
There you go.
So
And so what course of study did you pursue?
I went the house, what is it, HPA, House Plants and Animals
Yeah.
route. The way I looked at it is I was going to spend 5 years in the military. So whatever I studied, if I wanted to go the engineering route, it wasn't going to be current and real applicable when I got out. I did not, in my mind, I wasn't expecting to go 20. I would say that was my mindset already.
Yeah.
And so I just went a management major in HPA and just figured, well, that will be worthwhile if I want to do operations or some kind of leadership role out there in the
Yeah. Okay. And then what were the types of things that in management and HPA versus MSc would be? Where you guys did more of the psychology and the leadership?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what it was about. And the way I looked at it is, after Juice and some of those other classes we took, I was like, golly, it's got to be a little bit easier, right? So,
Well, I remember a lot more dealing with people than with capacitors. So I think you probably made a good choice.
I thought I did too after the fact, but
Right.
it was a great place to get a good education. I wish I would have had a little bit more of the engineering side now.
Yeah. Now you're being a little self-deprecating because you did manage to get yourself into aviation.
I did.
Yeah. So that's
I-
now you couldn't be a slouch and get into aviation. So you got a lot of hard work paid off.
I had the chance to study, Paul, because I got in trouble a couple times.
I was going to let you bring that up. It's uncharitable for me to bring it up. So you famously claimed that you only did two things wrong at West Point, and you got caught both times. So
And actually, those aren't my words. Those might have been
about.
Dean Rogers. Those might have been Dean Rogers' words from the Gophers.
Two times you
Ryan
did
is
something
one of the
wrong.
two. I think they were helped me write my yearbook thing.
Yeah.
Little paragraph, and they made that comment that Craig did two things wrong, got caught for both. One. The first one, I felt like a criminal. Because when they wrote up the slug, it said that Craig Rollins trafficking alcohol.
Trafficking alcohol.
Yeah. So if you remember, McDonald's was new in Highland Falls,
Yeah.
and I had the chance to go out to Highland Falls and get a Big Mac or whatever the heck we got. And so I'm going out there, and my roommate Jay Bridge was on academic restrictions. He was struggling a little bit on the academic side, so he was in his room and he said, "Hey, would you mind bringing me a bottle back?" And so, smart Craig chose to do that, and he got caught, and then I got a major slug.
And they inquired as to the source,
Of course.
and you were identified as the source, and you were a trafficker at that point.
Doesn't that sound terrible, Paul? I mean, come on.
I'm excited to know you, though. I've never had such spicy friends before. This is great. You're a trafficker in alcohol.
I feel like I had airplanes coming in, dropping stuff off.
I know. Right? If it was the 1920s, we'd really have a story.
Agreed.
So what was that slug? How many hours was that slug?
It was at least 100. It might have been 120 or something. But it was a bunch.
And what year was that? Was that yearling year or cow year?
I think that was wow, that's terrible. I think that's my first part of my cow.
Cow year, yeah. Okay. And you sat room tours because you were on the football team, or how did that work?
I did. I sat room tours, so they multiplied your hours times 5, and then you'd sit them in the room on the weekend.
Okay.
The
So
positive
you had
out
a
of
chance to
that,
study.
exactly. I made dean's list for like for like 2 semesters, I think, while I was sitting in my room.
Who says alcohol doesn't lead anywhere? Get you on the dean's list.
Exactly. So that
Oh
was the
man.
first slug. So then I worked my way back up, and I became a better cadet and
A better citizen. I mean,
better
I look at you,
citizen,
right?
a non-trafficking citizen, and
And then the second mistake comes. What happened the second time?
I made it up to regimental staff when we were
Yeah.
hosting the new plebe class when we were going to become seniors,
Right.
and I was roommates with Wayne Lachlan, and I remember I was in bed one night. This is my story, Paul. That
God,
state,
we're here for the stories, Craig.
and no one else is going to refute it because there's no one else on here. But I was in bed that night, and all these guys come on and they're saying, "Hey, Craig, we're going to go to Newburgh, hit the bars, hit the disco or whatever, and
Right.
come on with us." And I'm like, "Oh, guys, I'm already in bed." No, well, it didn't take much to influence Craig to go party. So I
Okay.
got up and went, and we all got caught. And so a note on the door said, see the regimental attack officer. So
And this was a
that one
summer during the summer while you were as a regimental staff while you were overseeing the new cadets.
yes.
Okay. All
So
right.
that one was a big one because that came
Yeah.
with a 30 days restriction.
Yeah.
So they held me out of the first football game. So I moved up to second string, and we had some plays on defense where both Kurt and I were in the game at the same time. Anytime we got inside about the 10-yard line, they would go with a different defense. So I had moved up to a point where I was actually getting some playing time. Well, they restricted me from the first game. I had a 30-day restriction, meaning I could only go to class. I had 1 hour of exercise a day, which I would run up to the stadium, practice football, run back.
Good gravy.
It was terrible, man.
And that was the severity. That's because you went off post. Is the idea there?
Well, and it was my second first class
And you're
slug.
second. Yeah. Okay.
So
But like not an 8-4, no demerits, nothing. Just those two.
I don't remember any demerits at all. Just those two. But
Shine
then
shoes. These lists and 2 big offenses. Well,
and
you
then
lived an
one
exciting
last one I
life.
got to share with you.
Sure.
So I finally, everyone buys a car. You're between your junior senior year, and you can bring
Yeah.
your car. Well, my car sat in my aunt's garage back in Cincinnati, Ohio, for 6 months because I was on restriction for that long.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget. I finally got back to the good cadet status again,
Yeah.
and so it's graduation week, and my mother is has come in for graduation. So she's there for the entire week,
Yeah.
and we were out playing basketball in that central area that you couldn't see from the street or from outside.
Yeah.
And we were in MacArthur, but we were behind MacArthur, over towards where 4th Regiment was and all that.
Uh-huh.
And so we were in there playing basketball, and I guess both teams had their shirts off.
Right.
And so there was some officers upstairs, some TACs upstairs watching us, and they said, they asked this NCO to go down and tell those almost new lieutenants to half should put shirts back on and half.
Re-robe.
So they were watching. So the NCO comes down, tells us. So we kind of are grabbing them, and then we're like, this is just wrong. This is BS. Do we really need to do this? And so next thing you know, we're throwing our shirts back on the ground. Oh my gosh, those officers were so mad. I was worried that I might not graduate. It was that bad.
Because they really got heated up about it.
They did.
These are the kinds of things that at times were a little silly about that place. But yeah. Okay. So
Well, so
did
needless
you
to
get
say,
any punishment from that, or they kind of just let it go?
I got restricted for the entire graduation week, so I never saw my mom, which was sad. But I did get to graduate, so
Well,
that was the positive.
we're happy for that.
Thank you,
Man.
man.
Yeah, some of our classmates come out and tell their century, man stories and all that, and they're so proud of their malfeasances. Yours just, oh boy, your heart breaks to hear it.
I just think about some of the other Gophers that like Bill Purcell, Weasel,
Yeah,
Dean
yeah,
Rogers, Ivy,
yeah,
Billy Hensley. Some of those
yeah.
guys, I think they may have gone out, lots of nights. I don't know that for sure, but I think they did all kinds of stuff and they never got caught.
We cannot confirm it, but we suspect it.
Absolutely.
I would say that somehow you were the moral ballast for those guys, so you took on all the weight of their sins.
I believe I did.
Well, they're happy. They're happy that you did that for them, and appreciative to this day, I'm sure.
Sure.
So why aviation? What was it that caught your eye about the aviation branch?
Well, you know how they had that 15-hour program
Yeah,
prior? So
yeah.
I actually got to experience that.
Oh wow.
And
Okay,
so I got to solo and everything. And so absolutely loved it. And so,
that's great.
that was a little bit more of that motivation to be Dean's List as well, is trying to get the number, my GPA up so that I could potentially make it. I might have been the last aviation officer in the class. I might have. I have no idea, but I was
Okay.
right about halfway in the class, and I was just lucky and to get the branch, quite frankly. So it was good.
Yeah, and you all go to the aviation school without knowing where you're going after that. So you all had another series of schooling there, right? At the aviation
Yeah,
school.
we had helicopter was about 9 months. And then if you had an extra aircraft, a transition, you would stay for a little bit longer. The helicopter part was about 9 months. And then if you got a transition, you would stay there for an additional amount.
Right.
The funny thing is based on your order in the class and in an aviation branch now, the ones that were just barely made it, like myself, we're going to, aviation to flight school right away, probably within 30 days or 40 days after we graduated.
Right.
Those smarter people like, T. Schiffer, Dean Rogers, some of those other furs that went aviation, they would go a little bit later. They had a little bit more time just to enjoy. But flight school was a blast. Now, flight school was also, it was like we had been in prison for 4 years and we got out of prison. And so it was like a prison escape. So I had two roommates. I had Mike Scanlon and Jerry Pierman,
Yeah.
and both of them from West Point. But, we had a house together and we just had a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
it was a good time. It was
Legendary.
some of the best
I remember
times
going
of my
over
life.
for a visit from Fort Stewart. We visited Darren Moore and some colleagues there. You all seem to be learning well, but enjoying yourselves as well.
We definitely did it. I remember one of my commanders when I got over to Germany. He was an aviation officer as well, and he says, "Yeah," he says, "when you West Pointers came in, he said I was so worried when you came into our flight class, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna crush us." This guy was from I think Minnesota, but
Yeah.
he was like, he was an ROTC guy, sharp guy, but he was like, we were so worried about you West Pointers. And then it was like, you guys were like released out of prison and you were just party animals. And he said, we had been doing that for the last 4 years. We were
Right.
ready
You were tired of it.
exactly. We were ready to settle down.
Yeah. I don't need to wear a toga anymore. I've worn a toga. You can go. You wear a toga.
Exactly. So,
That's great.
so he said we were worried about having West Pointers in our class, but it ended up being a good thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And what did you end up flying?
well, I did the Hueys like everyone, and then our class was light on transition. We got 4 of them. And fortunately, when they did the announcement, it's about 3/4 through flight school. They actually ranked the class, and that's where you get your rank for a transition.
Yeah.
And so I was high enough to get one of the 4. So the first 2, we had 2 Apaches and 2 fixed wing. And so the
Okay.
top top two guys took Apaches, of course. And so I ended up taking a fixed wing transition. And
Okay.
that was another thing, Paul. It's like I looked at that and I'm like, what in the world am I doing? You know, helicopters are so cool,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go into flying an airplane. And so I knew the MI mission, but I was like, I don't. But it was a transition, so it's like it's something extra. So I need to go for it. And in hindsight, it was fantastic. So.
And where did that take you after you went through the transition?
Well, like everything, I told them, I said, I'll take anywhere in the United States. And they sent me to Germany. And so I ended up getting orders to go to Hanau.
Yeah.
There weren't any airplanes in Hanau. And so I was in limbo over in Germany for probably a week. And they corrected my orders and sent me to Wiesbaden Air Base, just outside of Frankfurt. And there was a
Okay.
flight detachment there that I became assigned to.
And where did you fly? The MI platform?
Actually, we had MI at Wiesbaden Air Base, but I didn't go into MI right away because those were the RC-12s. And at the time, we had another platform that they deactivated. But I actually ended up going to the detachment flying helicopters, Hueys, and then they had a C-12 and a U-21. It's a Beech King Air and a Beech Super King Air.
Yeah.
And so got to fly them all, which was great. Got to go to Reforger and fly Hueys, and then I would go, get on the airplane and fly missions for the general.
Got it. How did you keep current on? Was it that big a deal to keep current on multiple aircraft? I guess not.
Not at all. Not.
Yeah.
I mean, back when you're early in your career as an officer, you fly a lot, and so it was
Yeah.
one. It was a heck of a lot of fun because getting back into a helicopter was awesome.
Right.
But then the mission of fixed wing was so much fun because of where we went. If you're going to the island of Crete, you're flying down there and you're taking the general so you can watch, the Lance missile fire. You go down there, you have 2 days off, and you come back. It was, just a great, really enjoyable.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But then you can get back into the military and go to Reforger or go on a mission with the COSCOM commander, like we did when we flew.
So the fixed wing was basically moving the commanders around.
The Fifth Corps commander was our primary support person.
Yeah.
And,
Got
then we
it.
flew others.
Yeah. Look at that. I mean, that's a pretty decent lifestyle. And the Army suited you. I mean, it sounds like that's a good way to live.
Oh, it was fantastic. I went to the 45th D-Day anniversary up in France and got to pick up Colin Powell, and so got to really meet some interesting people. During that time.
That's
Flew
cool.
a lot of the Air Force people that were in Germany, and a lot of them had a really interesting missions. A lot of them were, if I can just say, they were spies, and so we would take them to different places throughout Europe.
Yeah.
That were just really enjoyable to go to. So
Yeah.
it was a great mission, Paul. My military, I enjoyed the military a heck of a lot. So
That's great. That's great. And then, so 5 years there. How many years there doing that?
I was in Germany for 4. I got pulled into Desert Shield Storm.
Yeah, I saw that on your backgrounder.
So I got pulled in really as they wanted an extra lieutenant to go. I think is quite frankly from my perspective. I think I went as a liaison officer, but I ended up coming back as the ops officer, working for the lieutenant colonel.
Okay.
I ran the ops. Part of the military, you got to wait your time. You get different responsibility as you gain years of military experience. Well, in the war, during that wartime, it was great because if you did a decent job, they'd give you more, or they'd give you a better responsibility. So I went as a liaison officer, doing pretty much nothing, became the night ops, and then ended up taking over the day ops with the colonel. And so when I came back, I was assigned to the flight detachment. When I came back, they said, we want you at 12th Aviation Brigade. So I ended up going into the ops there.
And how was the planning and running of things versus flying? How did you find that
It, it was
contrast?
it was awesome.
Good for you.
We did some great stuff. We were an aviation brigade in Germany. We were already forward deployed. So when they said we want you guys to be there, end of August or whatever, it was like, what? We don't have any plans to load these on ships. So I mean, I got so many different experiences. I got to load ships. I got to oversee that part of it. Um, you know, I got to go meet with the Syrian army that was in front of us.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, so I got to go up and talk to them so they wouldn't shoot our Apaches down.
Yeah.
Just make sure that we had some friendlies up there. But I mean, I got to do just a wide range of tasks in the military, and it was. I mean, I grew up a lot, and it was a lot of fun.
There's those 1,000 little things that we all did that are like meeting with the Syrians. It's just you can't really describe it to people who haven't done it, but there's just a moment where you're sitting talking to a group of Syrians trying to figure out how to not, have a problem or a conflict. Yeah, I get it. That's cool. Yeah,
I'll tell you a quick story. My translator said, "Sir, you just insulted the Syrian general." And I'm like, "Holy crap! Already?" But he had a big bag of dates, and it was like in a trash bag, and there were flies just swarming all over him. And he's like, "Would you like a date?" And I'm like, absolutely not. I wouldn't eat anything in that bag. Well, I insulted the general.
Insulted the general.
So it was good, but all that was just learning. So it was nothing but positive.
Terrific. And then after Desert Storm, where did you head?
Came back. They brought me up to the 12th Aviation Brigade in Germany there.
Okay.
And I stayed there until I got orders for the advanced course. Went to the advanced course back in Fort Huachuca. I got to catch up with several West Pointers there, which was great. I got married.
Schlackenhoffen was out there with you guys, right? Joel?
Say again?
Was Joel Schlackenhoffen out there with you, I think, at that time?
He might have been right after us.
Yeah, he was doing fixed wing stuff. So,
yeah.
And why Huachuca? Because you were fixed wing?
And because my secondary was MI.
Okay, gotcha.
And the next progression for fixed wing guys is that you're going to fly RC-12s or command RC-12s and be, in that role.
Yeah,
which is more of the, the communications intercept mission.
Yeah. I was an MI guy, so that was my world. Yeah, cool. And then where from there?
Well, I guess I should say I got married en route to MI advanced course.
Okay.
So
and how did that transpire?
It worked out well, but I watch all these young people planning weddings for a year. We planned it in 1 week and then executed it. And so probably wasn't as elaborate as nice.
Not as elaborate.
But it was effective. Let's put it that way.
But no less romantic, right, dear?
Yeah, she's not in here, so I can say that.
And then how did you meet?
Met her in Germany.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping to meet some really exotic foreign lady, but I met an American from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
She was over there doing she was a teacher, and she was doing her student teaching piece.
Right.
And then I met her, and she went back, and she actually got a stateside hire, and came back to Germany, and then taught for a couple of years over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys tied the knot on the way out to Huachuca, and then how did she take to Army life?
Not so well, because she couldn't get a teaching job in I can't remember the little
Sierra
town
Vista.
there. What is it?
Sierra Vista, Arizona.
Sierra Vista.
Is the garden community outside of Fort Huachuca.
Exactly. I remember going to the bar and eating popcorn for dinner a lot in Sierra Vista.
Yeah.
Some
that was considered gourmet. So, yeah.
But so she was a little bit surprised. It was a little bit of a transition. but then once I got done with the advanced course, I went to, since you're MI, I went to Mibley in Orlando, Florida,
Hmm.
MI Battalion Low Intensity. And so,
Yeah. Some interesting
great
work there
mission.
you did, I think.
Say again?
Some interesting work there for you, I think.
Awesome mission. Did a counterinsurgent, did a counter drug mission. And so I was in the ops there as well. And,
Okay.
uh,
So
and so
ops more and more. You enjoy the ops piece of it, obviously.
exactly. And I mean, I just like being where the action was, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And that's where the action was back then. What, and so how long, so, but you finished out the Army soon after that, if I,
Well, I did. I spent about a year and a half at Mibley and Ops, and my detachment command I had a detachment command when I was in Germany, so I think I kind of checked that box. But then they gave me a second command at Mibley, and
hmm.
so I was going to take over headquarters, and I just remember going to my wife and saying, "Listen, if I do this, we're going to be close to 10 years. And if I'm at 10 years, I'm going 20."
Right.
And so I said, we need
This
to
is
make a
this is a
decision.
10-year decision, right? Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so I said, we need to make a call right now before I take this command, because we were already starting to do the inventory and everything. But so we decided to get out at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
Went with Cameron Brooks. You remember that name?
Oh yeah, I went with many of us are Cameron Brooks. I guess we would be called alumni or inventory. It's hard to say.
I
Yeah,
think inventory is a better word,
I
Paul.
think we were inventory to be honest. But so Cameron Brooks, and where'd you start out afterward?
Well, I mean, he had, you had to be exclusive with him until that first interview session. And so I
Right.
did that. After that first interview session, we were going through the second interview process. There was another company that I contacted, and I went with them just to two companies, and both of them offered me a job. One was Johnson and Johnson, and one was the one I went with, which was a group at the time called Caristar. And
Okay.
one was manufacturing, one was sales, medical sales for J&J. But
Yeah, which was quite in vogue back then. That was the front end of the pharmaceutical rise, right? So yeah,
and there was a bunch of our
a
classmates,
lot
and
of
there
our
were
classmates went that way. Yeah.
a bunch of ex JMOs went that route.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That
So
was the if you went to those if you remember those conferences back then, that was the preponderance of the companies were offering those roles. So
absolutely,
yeah, yeah. But you decided to
but
go manufacturing instead.
I did.
What was your head? What
Well,
was your thoughts there?
one was well, I mean, it was more of a monetary decision, quite frankly, because I remember as a captain, we were making, let's say, we were making close to 50,000. This was back in '93.
Yeah.
And I remember they offered me the job in sales of about 30 grand or something like that. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
big perk was you got a car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if my wife doesn't get a teaching job, we'd be lucky to survive off that, is what my mind said. And and
Right.
and Kara
I think
started the
the commission piece was supposed to get you excited. I think they,
agreed.
yeah, because they dangle that out there that you're going to be making all that money. But yeah, so it didn't look as attractive at the baseline.
At least not to start off for the first
Yeah.
year or so.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going manufacturing, and I stayed with that same company for 30 years. So
That's amazing.
that
A
is
couple of
amazing.
classmates have had a similar experience. So talk about, well, where'd you end up first in terms of
First location was Atlanta, Georgia. So we made
Atlanta?
the transition from Orlando up to Atlanta.
And what was it?
That,
What was that transition like? And how? I guess your wife was happy to not be living in Sierra Vista anymore, for sure. Well, what kind of? How was that change for you all?
it was, I didn't understand the profit world as well as I probably should have been prepared for.
Yeah.
But I went in as a management trainee, and so I really didn't have, a real specified role. The, the guy
Yeah.
I worked, the guy I worked for said, get out on the floor, learn, and the job was to go out there and learn as much as you can, and then hopefully become a plant manager at one of their sites.
Right.
And so I did that for about 6 months, and I was worried that, hey, if I don't have a little bit more direction or have some purpose, I think I'm probably going to leave. So I went to him and I said, listen, I'd like to go into sales because there was an opportunity with one of our product lines. And so I ended up doing that for a couple of years, and that went very well.
Okay.
And then that plant in Atlanta that I first worked at became open, and I ended up getting that plant, which was one of our larger facilities. And so it all worked out.
You must have taken to it at some level if they bumped you up to plant manager.
I did. I mean, I worked with the people on the floor a lot. More like an IE role, looking at costing, things like that, just figuring out what made sense, trying to look at automation. It was some free time, but I didn't have quite the structure that I wanted. And so that's why I jumped out, went into sales for a couple of years. And then it was just all on Craig at that point.
How'd you find sales? How did you take to sales?
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah, it's the only time in my life I think that your time is your time, and you make of it what you will.
Yeah.
If you want to start at 9 o'clock, you can, but that's on you, because one less visit that you're going to have, or one less chance to make more money.
Yeah.
So it was good. But then I've been on the operations side, and then took over the business at some point later in life. So I've been on the ops side after those 2 years, ever since.
So what was it like being a plant manager in terms of as a leader?
It was rewarding. Using the same skills we learned at West Point, you learned in the Army, just how we treated people. I think a little bit of that was lacking in the plant that I was at. And so, tapping into your supervisors and taking their input and acting on it. And I just think once you gave those people a chance to grow a little bit and fly, it ended up working out pretty well.
Yeah. The same discipline and principles apply, right? That we were taught. It's great. And then the kids came along in this period. Talk a little about. We got to make sure we bring them in as much as we want to, or they will be in trouble.
My first one, was in Atlanta. Actually, both of them were in Atlanta. But the funny story on the first one is I delivered my son.
So talk about that.
It's not because I'm cheap and didn't want to go to
ops.
I didn't want you to think that, It was just one of those things. I mean, she had gone to the OBGYN that afternoon, and she was partially effaced, and they're like, "You're going to have it this week."
Yeah.
And so back then we had no kids. I'd come home, lay on the couch, read the paper, do something, after a hard day at work, and I hear that scream from upstairs that is one of those screams that you need to respond to.
Yeah.
So I run up there, and she's washing her feet. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, my feet are going to be in those stirrups. I want them to smell good. And I'm like, babe, if you're in pain and we got to go to the hospital, let's go.
Yeah.
And so that didn't last. She went to the restroom, came out. Next thing you know, she's doubled over in our master bath floor. Now, I don't want you to think she's sitting on tile or anything. It's partially carpeted. But,
well, good.
So I didn't want you to think she was in pain.
I wouldn't want to think you had feeling.
So I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I'm looking at her, she's doubled over, and I'm like, I'm just going to call an ambulance,
Yeah.
I call the ambulance. And the cool thing is, I got the 911 tapes from the emergency service. So my first time hack is at 6:56. And I call and I say, listen, need an ambulance. They say, yeah, do you see a head? And I'm like, oh, dear Lord, I got to be an OBGYN now. And so I said, no, there's no head showing. They're like, okay, call us if you see a head. 7:01 is my call back. There's a head showing.
There's a head.
And they're like,
that was a very fast 5 minutes.
Absolutely. And I'm panicking. I remember grabbing the cat, opening the closet, throwing the cat in the closet, Cat
Yeah.
was there like for a day. But
Yeah. Right. Sorry, Kat. Yeah.
she said,
No
go get
kidding.
towels. So, of course, I went and got all the guest towels, the ones that you never use, that they're only for special people when they come visit. I got
Right.
all those out.
All those out. Yeah. All
And
those.
so,
Well, at least it was a special time. So they merited the special towels.
exactly. So, I mean, you could hear my wife on the 911 tape kind of screaming. And I'm
Sure.
like, babe, don't push, don't push. And the lady on the phone's like, sir, you're going to deliver this child. She has to push. And I'm like, okay, I got you. And I'm like, don't push, don't push. She's like, sir. So
Yeah.
she's talking me through this. And I'm like, where's the ambulance? So next thing I know, I look outside our window, our bedroom window upstairs, and I see the lights reflected on the house across the street. And I
Yeah.
run downstairs, and it's a fire truck. And so I yell at the dude, and I'm like, get up there now. And so he comes running up. And as soon as he gets there, I'm crouched down from my wife. She shoots our son out at me.
Yeah.
It's like a one hopper at first base. Sorry, if any of this is inappropriate, it doesn't need to be on the tape. You just cut it
Might be
out.
some of the best material we have, Craig. I love it. Like a one hopper at first base.
It was.
Thank God she cleaned her feet.
Exactly. So,
Oh.
but our son was born in the sack. The sack never broke.
Okay.
So you're looking at a baby that doesn't look like a baby. It
Right.
looks like a membrane on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I look
Now
up
what
and
do we
the fireman's standing there. I'm like, do something. So he starts doing opens the sack, does some CPR, gets our son breathing. Everything's fine at the end of the day.
Good.
I kind of, after catching our son, I went over and I sat kind of on our garden tub. And next thing you know, it probably is maybe 30, 45 seconds later, it seems like I got two ambulance crews. I got a fire crew. My wife's spread eagle. It's like, we got to get back in charge of the situation. So I'm trying to clear people out of the bathroom.
Yeah, right.
But it was pretty good. By the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
that child cost me nothing.
Look at that.
So I
Right.
didn't have to pay any deductibles. So it was a free baby.
Caught him on a short hop and he was free. That's why I like that boy.
Nothing like.
Oh, wow, what a story though. I think that was always the secret fear that as a father you had, is that, oh my God, what if this thing goes before we get to around medical help, right? So you actually experienced it.
Yeah, I remember watching a couple of those. When you go to those classes, they show you a couple movies of child being born, and it didn't look like anything like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, right.
It was wild.
Yeah. But the important thing he was okay and everything
He was.
turned out. That's
Really
amazing.
worked out. The second one, when she woke up and says, I feel kind of weird, I said, go to the hospital now.
I'm calling a life flight now.
We're not taking any chances here. Get.
That's it. We're going. I love it.
So, by the
And
way,
the kids live in your area?
the daughter lives in Charlotte. And
Charlotte,
then
yep,
the
right,
son
right.
just relocated from Denver to Raleigh, Durham area.
Yeah, right. So they're a drive away. There you go.
Exactly.
So good for them. Good for them. That's great. And you were mentioning the grandchild and you guys having a pull toward Raleigh, right?
Exactly, and that's our son.
Yeah. There you go. Good for you. That's amazing. So retired at 60. So a successful run in manufacturing all the way up. And what was your last few roles, just to talk us through the pinnacle of your success there?
Well, I would say from about I want to say '07.
Yeah.
I took over all of the site, all of the plants that we had. Back in '07, we may have had 25. So I took over the ops of all those plants. And then maybe in, I want to say maybe we went private equity and we started growing the company significantly.
Yeah.
And so we combined number 2, number 3, and number 4 players in the market.
Yeah.
And so So we went all the way up to 45 facilities, but I mean, I still had them all. And then in 16, I took over the sales. I took over the entire business as a VP GM.
There
And
you go.
so from 16 till I retired, 24, I had it all. So
Yeah.
it was a great experience. We ended up selling to a strategic buyer because we went private equity a couple times,
Yeah.
which, in my opinion, was great because they were looking to grow it significantly, which was a lot of fun. Going out and buying a bunch of independents and other competitors, but and then we sold to a strategic in 19. I stayed with them for 5 years,
Okay.
and
Yeah. And so
so
ended it well. You ticked a box of a successful run, and then transition over. Retirement at 60 is great. That's so you got a couple extra years of. How did you find? Because many of our classmates are now moving toward retirement and getting ready for it. What did you find worked in terms of reorienting yourself to not being the man in charge anymore of a large organization?
well, and that is a difficulty because I work with my church. I'm on the finance committee at the church,
Sure.
and when we used to talk finances at the plant, or about the 45 plants,
Yeah.
I could say something and people would execute, but a little more politics, a little more of just making suggestions, and then just having the attitude that if it doesn't go your way, you just got to let it go.
Yeah.
But that was the most difficult part is being in charge and people reacting to that to not being in charge and just being part of a team. So, but it's working.
Yeah.
So doing a little bit with the church. We have one charity that we work with, and then playing golf and riding a bicycle and just trying to stay a little bit fit.
Keeping it fit, looking trim and fit. That's good. How long did it take to decompress from working? In your opinion, how long were you like fully like, okay, I'm actually clocking at a different speed?
Well, when we had made my announcement that I was going to leave the company, the guy that I worked for at the public company, Greif was the name of the company.
Yep.
He was very concerned, and he was like, "We need at least a year transition." You never need a year transition, I'll tell you
No.
that. So probably the last 6 months, Paul, I wasn't doing really much at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a positive in that regard that I could decompress and I could learn, hey, I don't have really anything going on. I don't have the 20 Zoom calls this week,
Yeah.
so I could kind of slow down a little bit. So it was a positive.
Good for you. Yeah. Yeah. Good for you. Well, it sounds like you're doing great and had a great transition. Is there any story we haven't told that doesn't involve some sort of trafficking, Newberg, or sons on short hops?
Um, and I wrote down about four
Sure.
comments. The one thing, I mean, our class has been really, really blessed. I mean, we are an incredible class of '86,
Yeah.
and so, and I know you're doing these interviews and you're finding out some of the even deeper stories from a lot of these people. But I mean, we really have some significant achievements from the class of '86.
Yeah.
And I'll never. The one story I remember is when we were early on as a plebe, and we were sitting there, and they would say, "Stand up, everybody! Sit down if you didn't have a
Yeah.
varsity letter.
Yeah.
Sit down if you didn't do that." And I remember standing there feeling cocky as heck, at the time, and I remember sitting down. It might have been after they said, "If you weren't an Eagle Scout, sit down." I thought, "Hey, gone." And I remember looking out at the
Hey.
group of our peers, and I'm like, there's like a couple hundred of these dudes that were Eagle Scouts.
Yeah. And I'm staring at their backsides because I'm sitting.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is fantastic. I think the class that you're doing it with, our class, just an incredible group of men and women. So
Well, I
appreciate.
really love the Syrian story because going up to do the liaison with the Syrians and the dates in the bag because we tend to aggregate or abstract our stories into the high level stuff, that you see in the newspaper or online and all that kind of stuff. But really, it's those little stories are really our experience. And so when you hear that one, you're like, oh man, I've lived that, right? And many of our classmates have. So I really appreciate that one small story. And that's what this hopefully does for all of us, is allows us to share those second order stories. Because when you stand up on the stage and do your thing, all of us, we all are familiar with that stuff. But it's usually those smaller things that we remember personally. So I really appreciated that story. So
Just keep these things coming, man, because they're
yeah.
awesome. So,
Well, good. The good news is we're at a decent clip now, so we're doing well. So
and get a lot more of these G3 guys.
well, you'll see some real soon. So, Greg Rollins, thanks for coming on, man. It was really great catching up with you.
Paul, it's a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you at the reunion coming up.
You too.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Courage Never Quits podcast, where any member of the class of 1986 who is willing to tell their story will be a guest. To get the word out and stay up to date on the latest episodes, hit the like and subscribe button. With over 900 living graduates, we have a lot of stories to tell, and you don't want to miss any of them. We'll see you in the next episode.